I'm going to jump right in. First off, thank y'all for staying. We appreciate it. So, raise your hands for me real quick if you consider yourself to be a quote-unquote gamer. All right, we got 3 at least. Okay, good stuff. I'm going to play 3 sounds for you, and I just want you to listen real quick. Okay, now, raise your hands for me if you recognized at least one of those sounds. Oh, wow, that number's a little different now, isn't it? I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how the stereotype is changing. It's no longer that 20-something-year-old that stays in their parents' basement. In fact, according to the ESRB, a rating system for video games, rating system for video games, the average gamer is actually about 34 years old, buys games the most around age 39, and plays about 8 hours of games a week. The real kicker here is that 52% of gamers are actually women. Now this is something that's drastically different than anything we've ever experienced before, and we're still trying to figure out how that is. And it's really cool because chances are you're a gamer now, and you should be excited by that. Now you all just confirmed for me that gaming is becoming more colloquial. It's something that we all, whether or not we identify with it, it's something that we all understand or we have an experience with. And that's some really interesting stuff and has some interesting consequences that go along with it. Especially with gamification, the idea of taking digital goals and applying it to real life applications, things like education or even the work environment. It's here, it's going to stay, and it's something we will see more of in the future. But don't just take my word for it. According to some statistics put out by the ESA, the Electronic Software Association, along with Economics Incorporated, which did a study detailing the effects of the video game industry along with the US economy, the US economy is actually growing 4 times slower than the US video game industry. And the labor rate is showing almost the exact same results. It's going to be here, it's staying around. Domestically, the video game industry generates about $22 billion worth of revenue every year. Now, to put that in more perspective, I made a little graph for y'all. On the left, you'll see domestic sales, and on the right, you'll see worldwide. Worldwide, the video game industry is large, but it's not the largest. But domestically, it makes about as much money as the music and movie industries combined. It's a massive industry. To provide further context, Avatar, the highest grossing movie ever made or created, generated about $1 billion in revenue in a little over 2 weeks, about 15 days. Video games were able to do that in 3 with Grand Theft Auto in 2013. It's a huge industry and it's here to stay. And there's some really cool it's a really cool medium to jump onto. The reason it's something that's drastically different before is something that's a little under debate. It's something that people at South by Southwest were actually debating about and talking about the differences inherent in the medium. They all agreed that things like radio, TV, movies, they all offered a way for a generation to communicate and share stories. But they argued that gaming offers something inherently different. It offers a way for players or users to interact in a way that they share their own story with it. Unlike movies or unlike music or unlike TV or radio, it's something where it's directed. Video games are directed, but you imply your own impact. You provide your own story. And you'd argue, well, what about mobile games? What about Candy Crush, Clash of Clans? I have a friend of mine who plays Clash of Clans, and I cannot tell you how many times he's gotten angry because somebody attacked him. He says, I have to get revenge, I have to get this guy back. And that in itself is story. Now, going along with that, there's some really cool new technology that's coming out that's allowing us to share those experiences and to share those stories that we have, and to have a new way to interact with the medium. For example, Microsoft recently announced the AR HoloLens, AR standing for augmented reality. What it does is it allows you to scan your environment and connect the digital with the physical world. What can come from this is really incredible. It allows us to take something like a skill, learning how to maintain a car, project the car in front of me and pick pieces out and figure out how they all connect and then put them back together. The applications are incredible, but it's something that's looking to be more further down the road. Something that's a little bit further along is virtual reality, or VR. The Oculus Rift has been announced for several years now and was kickstarted in 2012. And it's something that's probably going to be a part of our lives in the next 2 years. What it does is it takes away your physical vision and your hearing and allows you to actually physically move around in a digital 3D world. The ability to share stories in an inherently different way than before is something that you should be really excited about. and it's changing the way that we're telling stories and communicating with others. Not only that, but 3D printing is getting in, actually. I have a really cool experience with a company called Boardcraft, and they allow you to upload and download special specifications that allow you to create your own stories and share it with others using 3D printers. But why should you care? There's some really cool technology, the industry's making money. Well, there's 3 really distinct reasons. First off, gaming allows us to be better, fitter, and smarter people. A great example of this is Fitbit. It's been mentioned a couple times. What Fitbit does is it takes your physical world, your physical experience, something like running or something like lifting weights, and allows you to digitize it. You set goals, and if you reach those goals, you have reinforcement. You reach an achievement or a trophy. It's a game. Another great example is something I learned from South by Southwest called Zombie Run. Now, I know, bear with me, it's Zombie Run because you get chased by zombies as you run. For those of you who don't know me, I don't run. I ran 3.5 miles the other day for my life. Not only that, but probably the best example of this gamification comes from University of Washington Center for Game Science. I know, it's a thing. The way it works is they created a protein folding game called Fold It, and it was mainly targeted towards solving the Mason Pfeiffer virus. It's a variation of the AIDS virus, where they weren't able to solve it after 15 years of research. After releasing Fold It, they had a solution within 15 days. It allowed somebody to take a game and to create real-world impact. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that it offers an inherently different medium that we're still trying to explore the experiences of. As I mentioned earlier, there's some really cool technology out there that's allowing us to change the way that we interact and change the way that we connect. And that's definitely the third reason. Regardless of age, gender, race, ethnicity, we can all connect through video games. It allows us to share experiences, to collaborate, to compete, to communicate. And that's something that's really special about video games. So for those of you who identify as gamers, or now identify as gamers, continue to do so. Play. Encourage others to join. And for those of you who don't, I'd encourage you to give it a shot. Maybe this is your time to give it a shot. Because in the future, it's going to be more relevant, it will be more impactful, and there will be more gaming. Thank you, and game on.